Unmasking the Covered Me podcast. UTCM was birthed from me realizing that there is a greater me on the inside of you. The phrase, there's a greater you on the inside of you, means being above normal, understanding your worth, and being confident in knowing who you are. But the first person who has to realize that there's a greater you on the inside of you is you. In life, we all go through stages of the good, the bad, and the ugly, which leads us to our purpose and promise. UTCM is a platform where you get to share your story and your truth of unmasking moments that allows you to embrace all stages in your life. UTCM looks forward to many people being able to unmask, uncover, and unveil themselves on the podcast. Thank you for watching and joining us.
Hey, we live. We okay. She better move. I know she shy, y'all. She shy, but she coming out of her box. Yes. I am so excited. Because it's been a long time coming. This is my sister, my friend, my cousin, all that good stuff. And I'm just so super excited, and I am just so proud of you two as well. So I want to welcome everybody back to Unmasking the Covered Me podcast, season 2. This is episode 6. So I am super excited, and I have none other than Miss Shavonda. So I am so excited to have you on. I really am. Like I said, it's been a long time coming. Her daughter, Kayla, was on last year in October. And we've been talking about this since last year. I even sent her the questionnaire and everything. She was like,
not yet. I'm not ready.
But she came, she conquered, and she here. She ready. And I'm thankful. I am so thankful that you finally decided to make the choice to come on. Hey, Shay. So Shay is on. But
hey, Shay.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you again for logging on, watching us. I'm super excited. I really am. I knew once you sent me that questionnaire back and I was reading those responses, I said, oh, she ain't coming to play today. Okay? Oh, she ready.
I'm ready. I'm a nervous wreck, but I'm ready. Ready as I ever be.
Listen, do it afraid, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just doing it. So it's all good. So I'm just so excited. Y'all just don't understand how
like you finally got me.
For real. Like y'all have no idea. Like the tugging I had to do with her. Oh my goodness. But she finally surrendered and said, you know what? I'm just gonna be open and honest, and I'm gonna be out here. It's all good. So I'm happy that she made a decision to come on and really share her story, right? So I want to ask you, right, the question that I always ask all my guests. Right? How did you feel about the questionnaire?
The questionnaire it had me shook. I ain't even gonna lie. I was very nervous. Every question was like, okay, how much do I give? How transparent do I want to be? It made me think. Very, very deep questions. It made me like dig deep into my childhood, like to really find the answers. But it was helpful. It was healing. Because as I'm answering the questions, I'm not really much of a writer, but as I'm typing out the answers, I'm like, oh, okay. It really made me go back and really think about how I got here. How did I get to this point?
That's good.
It's a good questionnaire.
That's good. That is so good. So I want to go back because I did forget, and I don't want to forget, and I don't want to wait till the end because I know, like, once we start talking. So I want us to show our shirts, right? What we have on. So show your shirt first, Shavonda. What does your shirt say?
It says, I'm not perfect, but I'm original.
Yes, I love it. And mine says, Jesus plus therapy equals healing. That's right.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yes. So I'll make sure that I'll put my where I purchased my shirt from. I'll put that in the comments. So if anybody want to purchase this shirt, go ahead, go right on ahead. I don't remember. I know it was hers something. I can't remember the exact person's name, but I will make sure that I put it in the comments. If anybody want to purchase this shirt. So let's dive right on in.
Okay.
Y'all see her face? Okay. All right. So, right, I want you to brag a little bit about yourself, right? Tell me a little bit about Shavonda, right? Because listen, I know Shavonda, right? I've known her for I know it's been over 5 years now.
Yeah.
So I've seen, not everything because you didn't let me all the way in the beginning. But I mean, that was a part of, your journey. So, towards, I would say like 2 years, I've been, we kind of been, digging a little bit deeper, right?
Yeah.
So I know a little bit more about Shavonda, right? But maybe somebody don't know, right? So talk a little bit about who Shavonda is. I want you to really brag about who you are.
Ooh, okay.
I know, isn't that question is like crazy. Whenever somebody asks you that question, you're like, wait, what?
How do I brag about myself?
Right.
I can brag about like who I am as a person. I'm very kind and loving and giving, and I'm a great friend and an awesome mom and a wonderful sister and a child of God. Um, I started a lot of things later in life in terms of like my career and education and everything like that. So I think that was the hardest part of, you know, being able to brag about myself because of the choices that I made when I was younger. It was like, okay, I chose a different path, and all my friends that I graduated high school with chose the path to, go to college and become professionals. And I'm kind of like just now starting that aspect of my life right now. But I'm super proud of myself. So, I brag about that. Like I'm in school. I
I
always
know
say
that.
I be like, I'm in 7th grade college, but I'm doing it. I'm on the dean's list. I be killing these classes. I'm almost finished. I got like 20 something credits left, and then I'll be finished at Essex County College. And then I'm just gonna, transfer to a 4-year. I want to become I'm a social science major, so I want to become a therapist. I'm still kind of like trying to figure out if I want to deal with children or adults. But for the most part, that's just me in a nutshell. I love to cook. I will feed you.
Her food is
That's
good, y'all. Food is good. It's rocking.
that's pretty much it. Just, just me.
That's it.
That was the hardest question.
Right. And the crazy thing is, and that's what we're going to kind of talk about too, because I feel like you were detailed in all your questions. Right. But this one, it was kind of like a girl bye, like, let me tell you type of thing. Like, it was like you had to take a breath and take a moment. Right. So I kind of wanted you to, and the thing that really stuck out to me, right, is the last sentence that you put. So you said, so this is something that I'm working on in the new season of my life where I'm putting myself first. Right. I felt like that was an unmasking moment right there. And that kind of really spoke out to me. So kind of talk about, you know what I'm saying, what that looks like for Shavonda, putting you first.
Well, all my life, the majority of my adulthood, I'm gonna say all my adulthood, I've been a mom, a wife, a friend to everyone else. So it was like, in order to not deal with a lot of the things, pain and trauma that I suffered with, I kind of like poured myself into everyone else and didn't really get the opportunity to know myself and who I am. So it was time for me to kind of like put everyone else, even though I still have, I'm still raising my children. Kayla's going to college and, Autumn is in high school. I had to kind of like stop and take a deep breath and kind of like reprogram myself to put myself first, go back to school, just focus on me, my health, just me you ever like go to the mall and you say, I'm gonna go to the mall and get myself something, and then you get there and you buy something for the kids, something for your husband, and then you wind up not even getting nothing for yourself. It's like I need to be able to spend time with me, get to know me, and work on me. And still find the balance of being there, being a supportive parent or being a supportive friend. I didn't have that balance. It was like, okay, I'm just going to give all of me to someone else and not take the time for me. So that's what I'm working on in this new season. Just finding myself and working on myself first.
Right.
I can't really tell you what it's going to look like because it's a hard reality, to have to face yourself. I'm in my own way. I realize that I'm in my own way. The things that I have not or have accomplished is because I've been in my own way. No one else, the choices that I made. So that process may be a little bit harder because, I want to be able to, direct traffic, so to speak, be the narrative of how everything flows. So once now that I'm learning to kind of like let go and really just let God be the center of my life, and really just depend on him, it's becoming a little easier.
Yeah. That's definitely key, right? Being able to, love you first, right? It goes with that saying all the time, like you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So you have to be able to pour into yourself, love yourself first and foremost before you can even love, those around you. And that's including kids, mother, father, sister, brother, significant other, whomever, right? You have to love you first. And then sometimes, we tend to, and I'm going to say we, because I feel like we kind of, are similar in that way too, as well. Like, I was always loving on everybody else and just showing all that, that love and that tender care. And, like you said, going to the mall and it's like, nope, I can't get that right now. I got to get, this is for the kids. I got to do this for the kids, got to do this for the kids. And then you end up losing yourself. Right. And then that's when I feel like sometimes, being very transparent, that resentment comes in a little bit, that frustration, that aggravation, you kind of snap a little bit and you be like, ooh, that wasn't nice. Like, the kids like, well, I didn't do anything. You right. Upset because you giving to everybody else and you not giving anything to yourself.
I was like a little low-key jealous of like people that I see put themselves before like their kids because it looked not jealous, but just like it just looks foreign to me. I didn't have an understanding of how could I pour into these kids if I'm not pouring into myself. I thought it was like, okay, pour. You got to do everything for the kids. And I wasn't really taking the time to really work on me. My cousin actually said to me, like, my kids come third. And I was like taken back by it. She said, God, then herself, then her kids. I was taken back because it sounded foreign to me. But I'm like, that sounds nice. Like, maybe I should try that. Maybe I should try that. So I think that, that statement alone kind of gave me a different perspective. I could say a lot of things, but I wasn't like really following through. I would say, I'm going to put myself first. Meanwhile, I'm still putting everyone else first. So that statement that she made to me gave me like a completely different perspective on the order and how things are supposed to go.
Yeah, that's good. That is definitely good. So I feel like that's a good segue, right? Of you putting yourself first, right? Because it taught, I feel like it kind of goes into, when did you first kind of start to uncover, right? And unmask those things, right? That you were, always suppressing or kind of like just pushing to the side, like, nah, I can't deal with that right now. I need to deal with this first. You know what I'm saying? So, and there was so like, when you answered this question, right? What was the first step in uncovering the hidden you? There were so many different nuggets that you kind of like just dropped in there. Right. And I feel like through the whole thing, you kind of really just unmask, you know what I'm saying? All those things. And it's something about things being in black and white, right? Like I feel like it's real, right? Because it's one thing you can acknowledge it, right? But then I feel like there's another thing when you begin to start to put action behind that acknowledgement, right? And I feel like a part of that putting action behind the acknowledgement is when you begin to write those things out, right? And speak those things out that have hurt, that have, caused harm, that have caused you to go into this bubble, into this shell of, of depression, of anxiety, or whatever the case may be. So I kind of wanted you to, because you mentioned, like I said, you mentioned a couple of things, right? And I hope we can kind of touch on a couple of them. But I really want to go to when you said, I'm learning to say I'm not okay today, or I'm sad, and taking the time to process those feelings instead of just moving on like everything is okay, right? So I kind of wanted you to kind of just talk about some of the tools that you are using to, to help you get through those not so easy days, right? Because we understand that unmasking is not something that is just one and done, right? Like it's a whole process in itself. Sometimes you go back to square one and then you go back, you know what I'm saying? So what are some of those tools that can maybe help somebody, for you when you say that, today is not a good day? Like, so what do you do? You know what I'm saying? To kind of work through that not so good day.
Well, first and foremost, I've had a lot of unconventional conversations with God. A lot of people call it prayer. I pray and I have conversations with God, like straight up, like, Lord, what's happening today? Secondly, I'm in therapy. So therapy has definitely helped me. But just being able to, it took a long time for me to be able to say, I'm okay. I painted this picture. I put myself in this bubble. I wanted the world to see me just like without flaws, I wouldn't necessarily say flaws, but you know how people only post the happy moments on Instagram and Facebook, and you be thinking like, oh my gosh, she's living her best life. No, it was not like that. So just kind of just wanting to heal and wanting to feel better and being able to open up and say, today is not a good day and I'm okay with it. Tomorrow might be better, but today I have to process and go through whatever emotions I need to go through to understand that it's not a good day. And I started to realize that it's more days that I'm not okay than I am okay. I used to I had to kind of change a lot of things around because I would just come home from work, go in my room, lay down, close the door, look at the ceiling, don't turn the TV on. I'm like the Candy Crush guru. I was using Candy Crush as my therapy instead of like really just dealing with it, just allowing it to kind of like manifest and fester and grow bigger and bigger and bigger within me. And then I had to say, it's okay. You start realizing like, you know what? You ain't the only person in the world going through this. You're not the only person that's not okay. So maybe if you say it, then maybe somebody else might say it too. And then y'all can have that conversation on how to heal together. And I had to kind of like learn that. Instead of, I would hide behind all my pain and be so concerned about helping someone else fix theirs so that I wouldn't have to deal with mine. So I kind of had to reprogram myself and say, you know what, in order to deal with your pain, you have to deal with your pain first and deal with whatever you're going through before you can help someone else. School has helped me out with that because I'm like, I'm going to be a therapist and I'm dying on the inside.
That's good. That's good.
I'm helping somebody go through, through therapy, and I can't even talk about my own issues or things that I'm going through. How do I expect to connect with clients, or how do I expect to connect with people and have them open up to me if I can't even open up to my friend, my sister? You know what I'm saying? So it's still tough. I grew up in a household where, what goes on in my house, stay in my house, and that kind of like sticks with you. It sticks with you and it grows with you, and then you start to pick apart like what's convenient. Okay, well, this needs to stay in the house. This needs to stay inside. I can't let nobody see this. And then it trickles down to your children, and you're trying to teach your children to communicate with you and to open up to you. And I think that relationship that I have with my kids actually helped me because my kids are so transparent with me and we talk about everything. And I'm as transparent as I possibly could be within reason of them thinking that I'm not their girlfriend with them. So that relationship and the bond that we have kind of helped me learn to kind of like open up and, even say to them, like, you know what, I need it I'm not doing well today. I need a day.
Yeah, that's good. And I feel like that there's so much power in allowing our children to see us not be okay. Right? Because I feel like we put as moms, we put on the cape, and we're like, all right, we conquering, we doing what we got to do. We going with the flow, and not really allowing, them to see our hurts, to see our pains, to see, the challenges. Right. And I feel the same thing, with my boys, being able to be very open, and transparent, and just being able to have those, those open dialogue conversations, because that's not how I grew up either. There was not really, I don't really feel like I was able to really have that open, like I didn't feel comfortable, having that open dialogue, with my mother or my father. Like it wasn't, so that's why even with me being pregnant, and no one knowing at 17, what I'm saying? Because I didn't feel comfortable enough to go to my mom and say, you know what, I'm pregnant, and I'm confused, I'm lost, and I don't know what to do. But it was just kind of like, nope, shut your mouth. You got to try to figure this thing out, type of thing. So it's power in them seeing, what I'm saying? Because then I feel like that's breaking that generational curse.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, it's generational, because I could really, my mom was a provider, right? She provided. She worked 2 jobs. She made sure we had a roof over our head. She wasn't as nurturing as I would like to have for her to have been at that time. She was more of a provider, and I never really seen her like. I think I seen my mother cry twice, to be honest with you. And my sister's my oldest sister. She's very like, strong. I think I might have, as an adult, I might have seen her cry like once. So it's kind of like, it's generational. So it was kind of like, well, my mom didn't allow us to see her hurt, her pain. She just kept going and going and going and going. And now I realized I was doing the same thing with my kids. So when I was during the process of all of the trauma that I was going through at the time, it was like, well, I gotta go in the room and cry. And then when they're not gonna do, I gotta like pull myself together real quick and not let them see it. And it was actually First Lady who said, like, no, let them see. Let them see that you're human. Let them see that you have to go through it. And it was like, well, how? I don't know how. I've been doing it this way all this time. I don't know how to let them see. And then eventually it was just like, it was my own, it'd be your own kids, girl. It was Kay, like, girl, you got to say yes. She tell me all the time. Just say yes to God. And I'd be like, okay.
That is your twin. That is your twin. Oh my goodness. That is your twin. Wow. I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, right, because I feel like, just as, our generation, right, I just feel so empowered right now, right, because I feel like we're paving the way, for the other ones that are coming up behind us, so they don't have to deal with, what I'm saying? Not saying that they're not going to deal with traumas, right? That they're not going to deal with hurts, that they're not going to deal with pains, but I feel like they'll have the tools to be able to deal with those things. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have to wait until they're in their 30s or in their 40s, you know what I'm saying? To try to get through stuff. Like they're able to live their best life, So it just shows that there's so much power in healing. Right. But the thing is, you have to be willing to heal. And I think you said that before. It was like, you had to make the decision to say, you know what, I want to heal. Like I choose to heal. Right. It's a choice. It's a choice. And we have the choice whether or not we want to heal or whether or not we want to stay stuck. Healing is not easy. Right. When you think about surgery, it hurts. Healing hurts. Is not something that, you know what I'm saying? Whoever went into surgery and didn't have, some pain afterwards, like exactly. Healing hurts, but it's necessary, right? Because it's getting you to, your greater self, right? You're healing whatever needs to be healed.
I skipped a lot of parts. I skipped a lot of steps when it came to healing. It was like, nope, I don't want to deal with that. I don't like how it's going to make me look. So I'm just going to sweep that to the side and I'll just start working on something else. And, whenever my body tells me though, my body will shut down. Okay, back pain and hair falling out and all kinds of stuff. My body is like, girl, you need to let some of this go.
Right.
And even through my body telling me like, you need to slow down, you need to let some of this go, I'm still pushing. I'm still being afraid of allowing myself to go through the process of healing, because it is very, very hard. I'm like, well, maybe if I get over, I get over the hump, I'll start it to heal a little bit, and then it'll get a little shaky, and I'll pull back. Like, no, I don't want to cry today, so I'm just not gonna deal with it. I'm just gonna, go in there and do something different, go cook or pour myself into work, and
right, because it gets uncomfortable.
Try to fix somebody else.
It gets real uncomfortable. It gets real uncomfortable. And then you mentioned something too about how because I feel like we share the same thing, about how you said with your mom, right? Like going back to your mom, and how you notice that the same thing, like what she was doing, you know what I'm saying, you begin to do too as well. And I was listening to Michael Todd. He has this amazing series right now, Uncuffed. It has really changed my perspective on a lot of things. And I think it's because I'm really like I'm learning to really now embrace the unmasked me. Right. So and because I remember always saying, like, I'm nothing like my mother. I'm nothing like my mother. Like, wait a minute, Naisha, wait a minute. Let's be real. Now, she raised you from the time you were born until the time, you know what I'm saying, you left the house. So you just may have some tendencies.
Right.
So that really kind of resonated with me when you said that too. It was like, yes, I absolutely. And I talk about that in my book too, as well. Like the very thing that I was trying to say that I would never do, I was doing.
Yeah.
I was doing.
Yep. Definitely.
That's crazy.
Definitely. Because as kids, that's what we feel like. Oh, when I grow up, I ain't going to let my kids, I'm not going to do this to my kids. My kids going to be able to do this. I'm not going to treat my kids. It's lessons. What I've learned in the relationship with my mom is that because she's in a completely different space now. And what I've learned is that, like, being a parent at the time, you basically deal with the cards that you're dealt for you at that time. And even though, she may have made choices and decisions that she felt like was good for us at that time. And I think that's what we do as parents. I make choices for my household, right? And I didn't take the time to stop and think about how it's going to affect the kids, because I'm thinking this choice is going to put us in a better position. The kids may not feel like that. So then that's when the resentment and everything comes into play. It wasn't until I had my own children and my own life, and I was, a wife, that I kind of helped me understand, like, okay, well, I can kind of see why she had to do things the way that she did, or why she made the choices that she made. And like, even now with her being like, she's a lot more affectionate, like with the grands, and I be sitting back looking at her like, I don't know that woman. What she mean don't beat them? Like, what is she talking about? Like, where was she when I was getting beaten? Like, So it's a different type of appreciation now. I think that I had to grow, become a parent, forgive her for some of the choices that she may have thought was best for us. But at the time, I felt like I could never do that as a parent. You really don't know what you would do as a parent until you're a parent.
Until.
So it took me a long time to realize that. And even with that has helped me towards my healing journey.
Yeah. I was just talking to Nasir about that, my oldest son. I was telling him, I'm like, parenting doesn't come with a book. Like, there's no, like, okay, you got to do it this way. And every child is different. No child is the same. Michael Todd, again, he said something so profound. He's like, don't be cuffed to comparison, right? So like, don't compare yourself, right? So how could you compare masterpieces, right? Like, each child is a masterpiece, right? So how can you compare? Well, why can't you do stuff like your brother? Well, why can't you, like, no, you can't do that, right? So I told Nas, I'm like, yeah, parenting doesn't come with a book. You kind of learn as you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just, and you try not to make the same mistakes twice, right? But that also comes with, I feel like, time and growth, too, as well. You know what I'm
Autumn
saying?
taught me that because she is quick to say, I'm not Kayla. Quick, fast, in a hurry. Just because Kayla did that doesn't mean that I'm supposed to do it. Like, she helped me with that in that aspect. Because I'm like, well, it worked for Kay. It was a smooth transition. Like, you should try it too. And she's like, no, I'm not Kayla. So that kind of like helped me. I listened to Jonathan McReynolds' Adulting like every morning on my way to work, because adulting is not easy. It's really, really, really not easy. And we as kids, we're growing up and we're like, oh, I can't wait to be an adult and get out here on my own and do my own stuff. And then it's like, now it's like we here and it don't seem as easy as it appeared to, when our parents were doing it. Like, well, why can't I just have that? Why you can't just give that to me?
Yes. Word. That's so that is so that's what I've been talking to Zaire about, because he just has this whole idea of like, oh, as soon as I turn 18, I'm moving to New York. I'm getting, I'm moving into a high-rise building. So I'm like, okay, so how do you plan on getting your stuff to New York? Right? Are you gonna have a job? Right? Because you're gonna have
right.
He's like, no, I'm gonna have a roommate. I'm like, oh, so you just got this whole all figured out, right? Like, not understanding, like, there's so many steps. Wait, Jasmine said adulthood is ghetto. I cannot. I feel you, girl. Word.
For real.
Oh man,
I'm gonna need Beyonce to make a song about that. Then maybe your people will listen. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. She tell everybody quit their job. I don't know.
Girl, adulthood is no joke.
It is. It's harder than we thought. It really is. And I tell my kids, take advantage of the opportunity of being still being a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, when everything is within time, like, you need timing. Like, it's a time for dating. It's a time for, gathering with your friends. Like, I was kind of, my mom was strict. We couldn't go nowhere, couldn't do nothing. So I tried to find the balance of allowing them to go places with other people and do things. But then I would find myself like, no. And then they had developed that fear, like, okay, well, we're not even going to ask you because we know you're going to say no. Right. And then it would hurt my feelings, like, well, why you didn't ask me? And they like, because we knew you was going to say no. I'm like, you didn't know I was going to say no. Knowing doggone well I was going to say no. But It's like, okay, I was robbing them of that opportunity to be able to come to me and communicate, because in their mind, they're automatically going to say, I'm automatically going to say no. The same relationship that I had with my mom, I turned around and did it to my kids. So I'm learning. It's an everyday. You learn every day something new, and that now with these kids in this generation, I feel like the kids are teaching us so much more as adults. Like, we couldn't say a lot of things I couldn't say nothing to my grandmother, my mother. The things that I allow my kids to openly talk to me about, I didn't have that, growing up. So yeah, it's tough.
It's not easy. And I feel like this is, in this moment, I feel like this is just a good time just for me to ask that question. Right? We're talking about childhood and, kind of like, how we grew up, right? And what we want to do different and what we don't want, to do again, what we don't want to repeat. So in this moment, what would you say to younger Shavonda? That's the nervous laugh, y'all.
Yep. You know what? I'm complete cheering transparency. No, I can't say that. It's something that I always say to my kids. I would tell young Shavonda to slow down and don't give it up so soon.
Don't what?
Give it up so soon. Take your time. Like, men ain't going nowhere. Boys ain't going nowhere. build a relationship with God first, focus on school. I made a lot of choices. My father was absent. So, and I associated like sex with love. So I was kind of like, I don't want to say boy crazy, but I was like in love with the idea of love.
Yeah.
The idea of what I wanted a family to look like to me. And that's what I focused on. I always say, like, I feel like my mom raised us to be wives, right? But I felt like, you know, you got to take care of a man, you got to do that. But I feel like she raised us to be wives in servitude, but not receiving. I don't know what it's like to be on the other end of being that wife, what I'm supposed to receive from my husband. So I gave so much. I would tell young Shavonda to pour into yourself first. Learn yourself first. Get to know yourself first before you make all of these choices and, focusing on everyone else. Because I can't, I'm pouring from an empty cup, like you said. My cup is empty. It's sick. It's like desert dry. Like desert dry.
Ain't got
and I'm still trying to share, you know what I'm saying? So I would really tell myself, definitely go to college soon, right after high school, and focus on yourself. Like, experience life in a different way.
Yeah.
In a different way. Experience life for yourself first. And I don't have any regrets. I think that I took the scenic route to where I am now, and it has made me the woman that I've become. The strong woman that y'all don't get to see because she be hiding in the room.
Right, that part.
That part.
She's coming out of hiding though.
Right.
This is only the beginning.
Only the beginning.
Only the beginning. Like there is definitely more to come. So this is just that, you know what I'm saying, that first step of saying, you know what, I'm out here. You know what I'm saying? And putting action behind that, yes. Like you have now, like you said, you have now acknowledged those pains and those traumas, right? But now it's kind of like, all right, let me walk in this thing, So listen.
I will also tell myself the younger me.
Y'all, I told y'all, look, she on a roll now.
Right. I will also tell the younger me, I did a lot of comparing myself to others and where I think that I should be for my age, or, I'm 44, I should have this, I should have that, and not focus on so much on like what everyone else is doing, just kind of like focus on yourself. And I think that aspect of my life kind of led to some of my depression, because I'm like, well, my friends, I got so many friends that are successful, and I got friends that they looking at me like, oh girl, you still hanging in there, you married, you this, you that, and I'm like, yeah, but y'all got careers, and you're not really dependent on nobody, you could just up and do what you want to do. I'm like calling my sister like, Bess, can I borrow you know what I'm saying? So I was comparing myself to everyone else's life while trying to paint this picture of what I wanted my life to look like.
Right.
So that part I would definitely work on, like just being me.
Yeah. And it's so much easier to when you can really just allow yourself just to be you, and you not trying to be somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Or trying to, meet the standard, you know what I'm saying, of others that are around you. Mm-hmm. It's just because if that feels like a weight, like that feels like something that you're trying to carry that doesn't even belong to you.
Exactly. And now I can express that with my girls. Like I tell my girls all the time, like, me and Autumn, we have our morning affirmations. Like we're going to normalize putting ourselves first. Yeah. We're going to normalize being ourselves. Like this is what we say in the morning. If someone, I had so many different transitions and shifts in life as a kid. Like I was like, 1 minute, I'm sitting at the kitchen table and my grandmother's like pressing my hair, and I got straight hair, and the next thing you know, my father was a Rasta, so I was a Rasta, and we had locks. And, I had locks. And then, I was raised Ethiopian Orthodox Christian. So my head was covered. And, back in the day, locks and covering your head wasn't like how it is now. Now you could tie up your head, put the top knot in the front, and, it's acceptable. But as a kid, I was like teased and bullied and things of that nature. And then it was like, okay, I didn't want locks anymore. And I didn't know that I had to like cut them off not to have it,
Right.
So then that was another transition. Like I had hair down to my back, and then my mom like, oh, you don't want your locks? Come on, snip, 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 snip. And then it was just like, what do I do now? Then I got a jerry curl of everything in the world is to get a jerry curl.
Right.
So I think that kind of like geared me. I mean, some good came out of it because then I went to school for cosmetology. I became a musician. So it was like, okay. My grandmother used to say like your hair and your eyes is your beauty. So I used to kind of like focus so much on that I also started to lose myself because I didn't know who I was up underneath that weave.
Yeah.
Get up out of that.
Yeah.
So many different transitions and phases that I went through in life to finally like kind of get here and be able to say to my kids, like, love yourself, embrace yourself. You okay. You don't need this. You don't need makeup. You don't need it,
Right.
Even though, I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. I enjoy putting it on, but it doesn't make who I am.
Right. So, like I don't have to have it.
Right. I had to have it today though, because you said we was going to be live.
So, and I'm learning that's, it was the same thing with me too as well. Like weaves and wigs. And like, I could not live without my long hair, right? Because I felt like my hair is what made me. Like my hair is what made my outfit. It made, like I was just beautiful. If I had long hair, whatever that may look like, right? Weave, wig,
bangs. I was like the queen of bangs, okay?
So now I'm on this journey of like, with my sister lock. Shout out to my sister,
Our bestie Sheena. That's our bestie Sheena.
That's our bestie Sheena. She a jack of all trades, so it's kind of hard for me to say like where she really is. But I felt like this was even like a transition in unmasking, for me, because my thing is, and sometimes even like I'll have moments like, oh, I wish I could just, and I'm like, no, I have to come back out of it. Like, no, I'm beautiful. Like I'm still beautiful with, what I'm saying, with short hair, with my natural hair. Like I'm still beautiful. Like nothing has changed.
Yeah.
So just being able to embrace, what I'm saying, really your inner beauty, because it comes from within. It's not on the outside. It's from within. So then what I'm saying, it exudes on the outside. Once you go.
It's so funny that you say that, because when I never really knew how to take a compliment. People be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And I'd be like, you must be talking, you must see me, you must be able to see my insides. That was like my response for everything. They'd be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. And I'll be like, oh, thank you. You must be talking about my insides. Because I couldn't look in the mirror and see what everyone else saw. And even with that, I had to like learn to love myself inside and out. So I'm still struggling with that. But that,
see, and I like that.
That could be for part 2.
But I like that though. I like it because I also feel like there's a misconception of people feeling like, oh, like unmasking, like I have to be completely ready. Like I have to be like completely ready and have dealt with all the things that, what I'm saying, that, I have challenges with or that I have struggles with. Right. And that's not true. Right. There's still like, you can still be unmasking certain things. Like I'm not there yet. You know what I'm saying? Like that's still a challenge that I have to deal with on a daily basis. And I have to affirm, what I'm saying, myself over and over and over again until I really believe it. Like when I say it, I really believe it. And that's okay. So I like that you said that that's still a challenge. That's still a struggle for me. I'm learning.
A struggle for me. It's like very much a struggle for me. Being able to see myself the way others see me. I'll be like, well, who are they talking about?
Right.
There's so many different areas. There's so many different areas. Like I realized that my insecurities run so much further than just my appearance, like in so many different areas. Like it was hard for me to go back to school at when did I go? 42. When I was 42, I went back to Essex County. I started Essex County. I was 42. It was hard because I'm like, I'm being there with kids, and I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't have the college experience, so I'm just like, oh my God, what if I'm not smart enough, or what if I don't know the work, or what if I'm not talking right, what if I'm too hood, or it was just so many different what ifs, and I was just very fearful. But it was just like, you have to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And I was just like, you know what? My girlfriend was like, you could do it. You could do it. And I'm like, I can. And she like, yes, you can. You already a therapist. You don't even realize.
Didn't I just tell you that? I'm like, you already walking in it. The only thing is you going live and talking about it.
Right. So she was just like, you could do it. And she made me fill out the application, my girlfriend Eugenia, and she was just like, just do it. Just do it.
Shout out to Eugenia.
Yes. That's my little sister. That's my little sister.
Yes.
She was just like, she was like, just do it. Come on. And you can do it. And I just did it. And then once I put the application in, and once I gave them my $25, I'm like, oh, okay, now it's for real, because I can't get my money back. I'm like, I ain't gonna waste my money. So then it was like, the hardest thing was going back and getting my high school transcripts. I was like, I thought I did good in high school. Girl, I'm like, wait, I thought I wasn't gifted and talented. What happened? My senior year, what it looked like on paper was not what it was. Okay, I'm like, really? I was slacking, but you know what? I wanted to work. I was in a work and study program, and I used to go like half a day, and I think that at that, it felt good to kind of like work and get my own money, and I ain't have to like wait for my mom to say, oh, I'm gonna get it for y'all when I get my tax money. Like, right. I have to, I have my own money. So I kind of focused on that. And then, my grades started to slip, and I was doing just enough to pass. But I don't remember that until I went and got them high school transcripts. I was like, they gonna put me in 7th grade college if I show this to them.
I'm done.
Girl, I was like, this is not what happened. This can't be real.
It definitely is. It was in black and white.
Right. It was in black and white. And it, it discouraged me a little bit, but my friends was like, just do it. Just keep going. And even now, like, it's like, I'm going to get my associates. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to get my bachelor's, and then I'm going to get my master's. And, I want to know, I'm excited about the growth in the process, but I'm also nervous. So I'm like, I'm going to be 60 and I'm still going to be like,
see, she always thinking so far ahead. My God, I cannot.
I'm going to be 60 and then I can open up my private practice.
As you should. I know you better manifest and speak it into existence, okay? And I just feel like it's a hashtag just do it. So everybody who's on, type in the chat hashtag just do it. That's definitely just do it. Just do it. Just do it. That's my thing. Like, I just feel like, don't think one of the elders who is one of my mentors, she considers to be my mentor too as well at the church. She told me one key thing that I wrote on a Post-it that I always look at, from time to time. And she said, it says, don't think, just do. Right. So, because I feel like when we think, we kind of like start to just think too much, and then it just automatically like starts to disqualify. You know what I'm saying? Like we start to think, okay, well, what if? But what if it really works?
Yeah. My thing was like, well, when am I going to have time to go? I got to get off work, and then I got to go home, and I got to get the kid. I got to cook dinner, and then I'm going to be running back down to the school. And then I had to realize, like, okay, well, your kids are grown. They're older. They could cook for themselves. And it's like, oh, well, how am I going to get Autumn home from school? And it was just so many things that I was putting in front of it. And then God was just like, girl, didn't I say go?
Girl.
And I went.
I'm going to take care of everything. All I need you to do is take the first initial step. That's it.
That's it. And I just, I'm so thankful for, like, all the support. Like my sister, Kay, even Autumn. I'm like, could you help me out with a little something? And Patrick, like everybody was my niece Nene, like everybody was just so like willing to kind of like help me. Help me and help me in a way where they're helping me and not doing it for me. Because my sister told me quick, like, no, open up, read it, open up the book. I'll point you in the right direction, but you got to do it. I remember my first presentation, girl, I thought I was going to die. Like, can you press the button for me?
Can you press the button for me?
I'm trying to talk and tell my sister, can you press the button for me so it could go to the next slide? Like, I was so all over the place. I was so nervous because, it's not like public speaking is so different. It's not like, we just having a conversation. I think I'm as calm as I am now because I can only see you. Even though I know we live and it's probably have billions of people watching, we claiming that. Billions of people watching. I think because I only see you and it seems like a little bit more on a personal level. Yeah. I done bit one of my nails off. I don't know. I picked it off. I ain't bite it. I picked it off. It's raw right now. But, it's kind of like I feel a little bit more comfortable. But I remember that first presentation. I was shaking and my sister was like, it's on Zoom. They can't even see you.
It didn't matter though. It was the concept that you was going to be on camera,
that I was exposed, right? I had to be vulnerable. And that's the hardest thing for me, to just be vulnerable in front of strangers, if I can't be vulnerable in front of my friends and my family, it's even harder to be vulnerable in front of strangers. Like, always constantly think like, well, what they gonna think? And it's so funny because I went last and my sister listened to everyone else's presentation. She was like, and you got nerve to be worried, girl? Like, do you hear how these people talking?
That part. Like, so you were completely fine.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, transitioning and growing. I call it growing pains.
Yeah.
Even though I'm older now, I still suffer from growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a real thing.
And just being okay with saying, listen, y'all, this is a little tight for me. You know what I'm saying? But walking in it, I think that's just the biggest thing. Like, even though you were scared, right? Even though you were shaken, right? Even though like you was nervous and all those feelings, right? That you can describe what you were feeling, you still showed up. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's when, you know what I'm saying, God can really get the glory. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I did it. And even though you kind of like, you like, but I did this and I didn't do that and I didn't say that right. But at the end of the day, you still showed up on that camera.
Girl, let me tell you, I was feeling like that this week. Like, well, I ain't signed no contract, so
I'm done. That's it. We ending the live. That's it. We done. We done. We ain't signed no contract, so I can kind of back out.
I was like, I just got over COVID and I'm still not feeling good. I'm like, what if I cough the whole time? Like, I was really digging deep for any excuse based on my fear. And I knew, I reached out to you and I was like, I know I'm supposed to do this. I could feel it. I know it's my time. And then as soon as you sent me the poster and I posted it and people started saying like, oh, I'm going to be watching. I'm like, well, I ain't signed no contract. She gonna be a little mad at me, but she'll get over it. That's my sister. She know I just got over COVID. Like, she'll be okay. But the questionnaire, it's amazing. It's healing in itself. I'm not really a big journaler. I don't really journal, and my therapist tell me all the time, you should journal. My cousin bought me this book. It's called Burning After Writing. Oh my God. And it's amazing. And she asks me every day, you writing in that book? You writing in your book? And I was like, I wrote something today. The question is so intense. I'm gonna send you a copy.
Yeah.
The questions are so, when I say it take you back to day one, like out the womb, it really, really takes you back. And it's about like, it's a part of Unmasking, and it's really about being yourself to yourself. That's like good. This is just you in the book. You don't have to front for nobody. You could just really write down, and then you're supposed to like burn it afterwards. I'm like, whoo, girl. Some of the questions, it's like you have to be honest. You have to be be in a space where you want to heal and you're able to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
So if anybody's out there listening, my cousin Kenya bought me this book. It's called Burning After Writing. After Burning, is it Burning and Writing or Burning After Writing or something like BAW or something like that?
Yeah, send it because Jasmine actually just asked for it. So send it to me and I'll put it in the chat to the link.
Okay. She got it on Amazon. I think she said it was like $6.99 on Amazon.
Okay, yeah. Just send me the link and I'll put it in the comments. So if anybody want to purchase that, yeah, because we out
really
here healing, y'all. We out here being our best selves, right? Because understanding my tagline that there is truly a greater you on the inside of you, right? But again, the first person who has to understand that and really believe that is you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like you said, everybody was, encouraging you and telling that you can do it. But Shavonda had to put the action in, to really go in. Nobody could pick up your transcript for you. Nobody can go and fill out the application at Essex County.
Right.
Nobody sit in your classes for you to say that you're pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So you doing the work.
Nobody could get them A's that I got.
Listen, and then
nobody could get that 3.9 GPA I got right now.
Come on, somebody. Talk about it.
I should have been bragging about that in the beginning. Yes. I had a good bragging moment for a second.
But as you should be very proud of yourself because, right? Like, it's been a long time coming. If you really think about to this very moment, right? It took you a long time to be able to get where, you know what I'm saying, as far as you are now, and we have to learn how to really begin to appreciate those small wins, right? Even though it's huge, but we always, you know what I'm saying, we kind of like, that ain't nothing. No, that's a whole lot from where the beginning thoughts start to where it is now. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you know God is real.
Yeah. Like, you know what it was for me? It was before me and my husband separated, it was just like I sat back and I really thought about how at one point in our marriage we had both lost our jobs and we moved. That's when we moved on Glenwood, and we were both home, and I had decided to go back to work. And at the time it was like, he was collecting unemployment and then the unemployment stopped. And I was like, you know what? You should go get your boiler's license. He went and got his boiler's license. He got his HVAC license. And I kind of like held us down. Right. So I always say, like, I put my husband through school. Why couldn't I do that for myself? It was like a moment that I had to really think about it. Like, I really was like I said, the servitude aspect of it, but not knowing what to receive. Like, I could have took the time and went back to school and let him go back to work and, deal with the kids. But it was just like, no, you know what? Go ahead. You go back to school. That's just me, always kind of putting everyone else before my own needs and my own self. And now at the time of the separation, it was like I had to start all over from scratch. Like, I had to rebuild my life out. First lady asked me, who are you outside of your husband and your kids? And I could never answer that.
Wow.
So it kind of made me stop and think like, okay, well, if you don't know who you are outside of them, now is the time to get to know yourself. Now is the time to get to know who you are and the things that you want. And even it still took me a couple of years to get to this point, but I'm glad I'm here now. Ain't no going back,
Right. Listen, and that's, again, that's huge. You know what I'm saying? To go through what you went through, right? And then now to see like, well, I could do it. I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's huge. That is huge. So the time is almost up. Told you it'd always be getting good, girl. So everybody know I love a good hashtag, right? And I always say to all my guests, I'm taking your hashtag. Yes, I am. So do you remember what your hashtag was?
My hashtag is #no more suffering in silence.
That's good. That's good. So, what made you come up with that hashtag?
I know I said to you like a couple of weeks ago, like, that's going to be the title of my book. Suffering in silence. I realized that I was suffering in silence. I realized that I was really in a dark, deep depression, and no one knew. No one knew because I didn't allow anyone to see it. And I became like, it became like second nature to go through what I was going through alone. In silence, by myself in my room, and get up the next day, go to work, smile on your face, smiling for everybody, happy-go-lucky self. Meanwhile, on the if you turn me inside out, you'd be like, girl, how you make it? A hot mess. And even like my bestie, my sister's best, and bestie is bestie, so just get it up. No one knew the depths of it. It was like, oh, they knew you were going through something, but it was so surface. It was only what I allowed them to see. But, that depression, that thing like almost took me out. It really, really did. And then, it was like, I haven't been to I had like 4 different therapists because the control freak in me wanted, control the narrative of what I want to tell them and how I want things to go. And then when things started to get too intense, I'm like, oh, I don't like her. Right. Let me find me a new one. She ain't working for me no more. So I would start all over, surface with this new therapist. And whenever we get to a point where we have to dig deep, I'm like, oh, no, I don't like this one.
Yeah, that
went to the next one.
Feeling. Yep.
Right. I didn't want to go through that process. So I was like basically setting myself up to suffer in silence because I didn't really have to. I was using the proper resources to come out of it. But whenever it was time for me to actually dig deep and go through the complete transition, I would just stop it. Like, no, I don't like how this feels. I'm uncomfortable. So I'm just going to go somewhere else, start all over, and I'm looking for a new therapist now. So if anybody got any good ones that they want to recommend, please put it in the comments.
Listen, I have a good therapist.
Referred so many people to my therapist. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so good. But she was getting in my business. And I couldn't take it. I'm like, no, she thinks she's like, it's like looking at yourself naked in the mirror. I couldn't take it. I'm like, no, no more. So I'm in the process. She called me like, you not coming back? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to call you when I come back from vacation. Girl, that was in April. So I'm looking for a new therapist now. She probably closed my case.
Y'all put in the chat, hashtag go back to therapy. Shavonda. My God. Oh, somebody just put a therapist in the chat. Yep, Jennifer Harris is an amazing therapist. Okay, yeah, Sharsen, if you could send me her information so I could give it to Shavonda, that'd be great.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Then I'll be coming with so many stipulations like, oh, well, they got, you feel like when you feel like you're the only person in the world going through it, it's hard to find someone that you can connect with. Like, she ain't going to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, and hashtag go back. Yes, hashtag go back.
It's only but so much that they can share with you on a personal level. So now you feel like, well, how could you relate to me? But I had to learn that therapy is not about advice. It's about coping.
Yes.
They teach you how to cope with, the things that you're going through, how to process and cope with the things that you're going through in life. It's not about them giving you advice. I went into it with the wrong mindset. Like, well, how's she going to advise me? Like this old lady or this, excuse me, old white lady, she can't relate to me, but it was about, I had to learn. Mind you, all my friends are therapists.
Yeah. Listen.
All my friends are therapists.
So many therapists in the circle. Yeah. But they too close, so they can't, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You need somebody that's going
to. So I'm like, they can't tell me what to do. I know their vices too. I know their business too. So it was kind of like, you build up this wall, this kind of like, well, can't nobody tell you nothing when you're not ready to go through the process. Those are the walls that you build up for yourself. Yeah. And that's what I was doing. Like, well, can't nobody tell me what to do? And even when it came to like, I got a lot of, I know it's almost time, but even when it came to like church, I have a lot of church hurt from a young age. So I'm like, these church folks can't tell me what to do. I saw them yesterday in the club. How they telling me what to do today? Like, it was so, anything not to deal with what I got going on, I was just making excuses like, nope, they can't help me. They can't help me.
Yeah. So I'm agreeing with Eugenia too as well. Just call your therapist back. She'll trust me.
She said that in the chat.
She definitely did. She definitely did. So yeah. So you need to call her.
Okay.
I'm a huge advocate, for therapy. And I mean, I know you know what to do, right? Because you on this journey of, being the best version of yourself that you need to be. Right. So there's no question, yeah, we laughing and we joking, but we know that you know what I'm saying, you're going to, you know what I'm saying, to your next. Right. And then your next, there's still gonna be things that you got to deal with. You know what I'm saying? You just got to continue to deal with them head on. Just like you showed up here, just like you showed up on your Zoom call, you got to show up in therapy. So just call your therapist back. Yeah. She'll trust me. She'll take you back.
Yeah.
She'll take you back.
I'm going to text you and let you know when I call her.
you know I start to hold you accountable too.
I know.
Did you? But I appreciate your transparency. You know what I'm saying? It just shows the realness, right, of this journey, right, because it's not easy. Like I did the same thing, going back and forth with therapy. Even sometimes I'd be like, you know what? I don't have to see her. I could see her next month. Like I could go a whole month. You'd be like, girl, no. So I tell my therapist, I'm like, please don't say, when do you want to come back? Because if I'm going to say, I could another 3 months.
Right. Because you equated with like, well, I don't have nothing happened this week, so I don't have nothing to tell her.
But sometimes you don't even realize that there is things that
exactly.
Those small things that kind of go on. And then when you begin to really talk about them, right, because your therapist doesn't owe you anything. You know what I'm saying? She don't owe you nothing, or you don't owe them anything. You know what I'm saying? So you're able to really open up and be honest. So I'm a huge advocate of therapy. So yeah. So # go back. You got this. You got this. So it is our time. So I just want to thank everybody that came. Oh, Jennifer came on too. Hey, Jen. So I want to thank everybody for, logging on, whoever, came on. I really appreciate the love and the support. So before we go, I just want Shavonda, if you have any final thoughts, now is your time.
This was a blessing. And I had a wonderful time. And I think that after you asked me the first question, the butterflies went away. And I think that you are amazing. You're doing a beautiful thing, a wonderful thing. And I got so many people to send to you to help build your podcast. I already told my cousin. And my girlfriends. I'm just going, this was a wonderful experience. And I feel a lot better already.
That's good.
And like, if you want to do a part 2, we can do a part 2.
Listen,
you should do like a series, like where you follow up with the person to make sure that they did everything they said they was going to do.
That is definitely in the works. You're like the third person that has said that. So I am definitely thinking about, what that's going to look like and all that stuff. So yeah, I got
like a then versus now type thing.
Yes. Love it. Love
definitely.
it. Yes. Definitely. So good night, everybody.
Good night. Thanks for listening.
And we love you. Bye.
Bye.